Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a man that is staying and working here in South Africa. I'm still a Christian man. Am I supposed to be embarrassed by the fact that when I got sick, like really sick, when I nearly lost my life, my deliverance, my salvation, it came by the hands of a traditional healer that we went and we visited back home in Morewa? If it was not for that man, for sure, just like what he said, I was going to die. I came to South Africa. When I came to South Africa, the very first time, it was in the year 2007. So I come from a family where a lot of rituals were done, and I was someone that was very smart when I was still in high school. In primary school, I was the top performing student after we had written our grade 7 exams, and then that was when my father tried to borrow money from this other uncle of mine who was his eldest brother, for he was a big farmer in the village and he had loads and loads of cows, and my father borrowed some money from him and he refused to assist me, but he then went and he assisted this other girl who was the second top performing student in our school, and then she started going to boarding school. My parents, they were so heartbroken by what had happened. So in the family, even though people were Christians, but a lot of evil stuff was being done. When I was about to write my O-level exams, there was even one teacher who had spoken with one of her relatives who was in the UK, who was willing to assist me if I was going to pass my O-level exams. But when I was reading one night, I felt that there was someone that was standing by the window, and maybe the mistake that I did when I messed up my life was to try to investigate. When I opened the curtain just a little bit, that was when I saw that there was someone that ran away from the window. So I then took one of the small eggs that I had and I got out of the spare bedroom, which was just a round hut. And then when I got outside, I saw that there were witches that were having a meeting right there in our compound. I screamed. When I screamed, I then found myself, I was sleeping right next to the river. And early in the morning, that was when my parents found me. They said that the door was just open. And when my father woke up early in the morning, because he used to wake up so early in the morning, and then he found that my door to the spare bedroom, it was opened. And when he tried to get inside, he saw that I was not there, and he started calling out, and he did not see me. They started to follow my footsteps, and then that was when they found me. I was sleeping right next to the river, and I was freezing so bad. They called the pastor. The pastor came and prayed for me, and I did not know that I had been cursed. Brother Nashi, you know, a child can be so intelligent at school, so much that the whole school and the teachers, they will be saying that this one is just going to write his exams, but it is a guarantee that he is already passed, because I had been winning since primary school. I was always on top of the class. Even when we were about to write our O-level exams, everyone just said it. I was going to pass those exams, but on the day when we were supposed to write the first exam, that was when I saw a man that was walking in front of me. I was walking with my friends. This man, when he was walking in front of us, I thought that everyone could see that man. This man went into the classroom, the exam room, where we were supposed to write our exams. So I thought that this man that I had seen was an invigilator, but no, he disappeared. This man, he just disappeared right in front of me. He walked through the walls, and I was so shocked. I was so shaken by everything that I had seen. Instead of me telling my parents that this was what I had seen at school, I did not tell my parents. I kept quiet. Each and every day when we would be going to school, that man wearing the black suit would be walking in front of us. He would go into that exam room and he would just disappear. I failed all of the subjects that I had written for my O-level exams. When the results came out, everyone was so shocked. But I knew that the man that I used to see almost on a daily basis, he was responsible for what had happened. I then came to South Africa and I started working on a farm. Whilst I was working there, that was when this other friend of mine said, in Johannesburg, we can get work as security guards. And then I came to Johannesburg and I started working as a security guard. My relatives, they never wanted me to succeed. Brother Nashi, I know that as black people, it is our responsibility to help each other in life. But when you help other people, sometimes they end up bewitching you, especially those that are closely related to you, as painful as it is. Because when I was taken to the traditional healer, as painful as it is as a Christian to end up consulting with a traditional healer, but I was told that one amongst my cousin sisters, whom I had brought to South Africa, was the one that was responsible for what had happened to me. And she and her mother, they had cursed me, for they saw that I was someone that was very smart. And when they heard that there was a woman in the UK who wanted to help me, to sponsor me even, to bring me to Europe to go to a university, they thought that I was going to be rich, and my parents, they were going to have so much pride because I would have gone to Europe. So they then sent that Tokoloshe, the man that I used to see was a Tokoloshe, walking in front of me to disturb me, to steal my brain. And when I would be looking at the exam paper, I would not even remember anything that I would have studied the days, even the weeks before sitting for that exam. Such was the case that happened to me at that time. When I was in South Africa, instead of just focusing on myself, just like what my wife used to tell me, when I got married to my wife, she was also suffering from spiritual attacks, and she had taught herself to just focus on her and her mother only, because she did the same mistake. She came to South Africa, and as per our Shona tradition, when you work the first time, you're supposed to buy your mother a blanket as well as some shoes. And then when she wanted to do that, her mother said, I know that you are suffering them. You do not need to do that for me. Rather, send me money, and then I'll buy the blanket as well as the tennis shoes and a small phone for her grandmother in the village. But after she had sent the money to Zim, and her mom had sent all of those items to her own mother back in the village, later on, when she started to experience a lot of bad luck, that was when they discovered that her own mother had went to a traditional healer to curse her own daughter. You know why my wife was cursed? And her own grandmother was saying that she has so much pride. Why didn't she return back from South Africa and personally give her the items? And she was filled with too much pride. So she went to a traditional healer, and she said that she wanted her granddaughter to come back to Zim and to go to the village to apologize. She suffered for a very long time, not being able to get a job simply because her grandmother wanted her to return back to Zim, to the village, to apologize. That is what we do as black people. We always do these evil things to each other. And that is why, as a race, we will never get anywhere in life or achieve anything, because we are born with this evil heart and this jealousy that drives us into bewitching each other. When my wife told me about her own story, about how later on she was prayed for by another pastor in Pretoria and the curse was broken, but after so many years of just trying to regain what she had lost, it is very hard for you to believe something that you have not yet really experienced. I had never been bewitched using money, even though I had met so many challenges in my life, but still it was very hard for me to believe that someone can bewitch me even though I was a Christian. I then called this cousin sister of mine. I called her when I heard that her husband had been beating her up almost each and every day. And I said, "Big sis, I am not going to allow you to be abused by your husband each and every day. I want you to come to South Africa." I had spoken with this other Indian man who said that he wanted a second maid. And then my sister came here to South Africa. When my sister came to South Africa, I had told her that since she did not have a passport, we were going to use Malaicha, who was going to smuggle into South Africa, and the money that was needed, it was quite a lot. And I had borrowed this money from people in the location that I was staying so that she can be brought to South Africa. When she was still back home, she and her mother, they had agreed that the first month that she was going to work, the second and the third, we were going to return back the money to the people that we were owing. And they promised me this. When she came to South Africa, she started working for that Indian man, the man whom I knew very well, who used to give me a lot of piece jobs. You won't even believe what she did. She stole some clothes, those Indian clothes that the wives wear, and I don't know why she stole them, and she ran away and she started staying in Durban. So I started fighting with him over the phone. I did not even know that now there was a big grudge between me, my sister, and her mother. Then her mother borrowed money from me, and when I wanted to send the money to her using Mukuru, she was like, "No, there is no need for you to do that. I am not in a rush." But she had previously told me that she wanted the money as quickly as possible. She said, "If you are able to give the bus driver the money so that I can get the money directly, I do not want to go to Mukuru to collect the money." She was telling me so many stories. So it did not even click in my mind. And I urge other people to always try to ask God for a revelation, because when she told me that she wanted this money to be sent by bus, it did not even click in my mind that she wanted this money directly, like the money that they can use to bewitch you is money that will come straight out of your pockets. And I made that mistake without asking God. I then went and I gave it to the bus driver. The day that she collected the money, she called me. I still remember that I was on top of the roof at the place where I was working, doing a piece job, and I was cleaning the gutters. I felt so dizzy, so much that the guy that was helping me with the piece job, he had to assist me to get off from the roof because I saw as if the whole world was spinning round and round, round and round. He guided me to get down from the step ladder. Otherwise, on my own, I could have fallen and hurt myself. I sat down. Then I started to vomit. It was as if I had eaten ashes, because the things that I was vomiting, they were black, like black. And then that was when the bad luck started. Me and my wife, we would pray. We did not even suspect that the money that I had sent to Zim, that was where the curse had came from. These people, even though I had done good for them, but still they had decided to curse me because I just wanted my cousin sister to bring back the money that she promised me she was going to give to me so that I can give to the people that I was still borrowing. And because she had stolen the Indian clothes from her Indian boss, and when I said, why did you do something so stupid like that? What do you need them for anyway? And she ran away and she was angry. So her mother was like, so you brought my daughter to South Africa so that you can abuse her. The next thing is that you're going to tell South Africans to kill my daughter. That was the grudge that she had against me. And she would send me text messages that if my daughter is going to be killed in South Africa, you are going to eat her alive. I do not want to see her corpse being brought back to Zim. But after that, as a family and also me as a Christian man, I said it is not okay to hate your relatives, not to speak with your relatives. So I was the one who started speaking with them, not complaining anymore about the money and about what she had done after I had found a job for him. So they bewitched me. We kept on praying until the time when I was unable to work. My legs were so swollen. I was unable to wake up for several days until the people in the community where we were staying with my wife said to my wife, this man to recover is going to be very difficult. Everyone thought that I was about to die. They said that it was going to be expensive for me to be taken back to Zim after I would have died. It will be more expensive. So my wife was then helped, and then we looked for another Malaysia, and then I was taken back to Zim. It was very terrible. I do not want to lie to you. When we arrived back in the village where I grew up in, it was challenging because we would pray, and after praying, I'll get worse. So there was this other sister of mine who was staying in Kwekwe. She then went to this other prophet, and then that prophet told my sister that I was suffering because I had been bewitched by someone in the family, and he then encouraged my sister to look for a traditional healer. My sister went to a Sangoma and she was told that I was being bewitched by one in the family, and if I would not come to his shrine to be assisted by him using the African tradition, I was going to die. My wife refused. Even when I was asked, I said, I am a Christian. I cannot allow myself to go and look for help from a traditional healer. But the day when I nearly died, that was when my relatives said, we are taking you to a traditional healer. Otherwise, you are going to die. Let us just see if we go with you, if you are going to be okay. I was taken to a traditional healer, Brother Nashi. That was when I was assisted, and we were told that my auntie and her daughter, who was in Durban, were the ones who had bewitched me using the money that I had sent. So I just want to warn other people to always be careful whom you give your money physically. Be careful, because people can bewitch you and even steal your destiny. And as Black people, as painful as it is, we are raised to help each other in life. But I was bewitched by those that I thought were the ones that were my closest family and the ones that I was still helping, yet they bewitched me for no reason at all, using the money that I had worked hard for. But I just want your listeners to help me. Am I supposed to feel guilty about what happened when I was taken to a traditional healer? I just need your advice. And that day, when I started feeling dizzy, whilst I was on top of the roof, that night I had a spiritual attack, Brother Nashi. At the place where I was working as a security guard, usually what I will do is I'll make some patrols, and there was this other room that I would get into and just relax, sometimes even sleep. When I went to work, I was not feeling okay on that night, and that was when I was beaten up by a Tokoloshe. I went to work, and when I arrived at work, I was not feeling so nice. When it was dark, Brother Nashi, that was when I took my phone. Then I started watching some videos on my phone. That was when I just felt like I wanted to fall asleep, but it was too early for that. I then went outside trying to get some fresh air. When I returned back, I felt something heavy on my shoulders, and then I took my small blanket and then I slept on the floor. When I slept on the floor, Brother Nashi, I saw a Tokoloshe with these two eyes of mine. Even when I told my wife the next morning about what had happened, she just said, let us try to pray, but she knew that it was a spiritual attack. I saw a Tokoloshe that looked more like Mark Henry, the way that it was so strong, but it was very short, maybe about 30 centimeters. This Tokoloshe came to the place where I was. In that moment, I could not even move my body, like I had sleep paralysis. Then it started beating me up too bad in my stomach, on my legs, even on my neck. It was punching me and punching me. And when I was able to wake up from the sleep paralysis, I started vomiting that black stuff again, and I got so sick until I was taken back to Zim. This is my own story. To those that are going to judge me because I was taken to a Sangoma, I do understand. Even before I had that spiritual attack as a Christian, I used to tell myself that I will never visit a traditional healer. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Let us try to speak with him in the comment section.